All right, good morning, everybody. Let's go ahead and get this meeting started. My man in the middle there. All right, hello online. Who do we got there? I see Michael. Michael, man, got the pipe. Why can't we do that in here? So it's like Mad Men, right? Back in the day. All right. So real quick, we normally kick it off with tell me something good. Tell me something good. So think of something that you want to share. If there's anything you want to shout out, new agents, new escrows, new open houses, new leads, whatever it is. But tell me something good is you'll notice on the desk. So this is one of the perks for showing up in person when you show up on live. Live tends to give you a little bit more back in return. You have a book from Brent. This is one of his favorite books. It's called the Go Give. Yeah, Brent for, by the way, the books. Yeah. Raise your hand if you've read this book before. Okay. Listening counts. Listening counts. All right. If you haven't read the book, you now have a copy of it. I highly recommend you read it. It's not a big read. If you choose to listen to it, it's about an hour and a half, 2 hours to listen to. It is one of those books that will reframe how you approach life, how you look at life, and just make you an overall better human being and also a better real estate agent. So highly recommend the book. Who read it? Raise your hand again if you've read it before. All right, Tom, one thing. What was one of your favorite things from the book?
Just recentering your focus off yourself onto other people.
Yeah.
Their needs, their wants, they're not going to buy for you because you need to pay your bills. They're going to buy from you and trust you and like you because of what you bring to their life.
Absolutely. Lexi, what did you get out of the book?
Oh, same.
Yeah.
It was just so good.
And it's a fun read. So anyways, readers are leaders. You got no excuse. You showed up. If you're not here in person, then get the book online. It's like $5. Not a big deal. $10. Well worth the time invested. We have a couple events coming up. So let me share my screen. So next week, I said this last week, but I was off. Next week, we will not be in this room. We will be at PCAR, okay? We'll be at PCAR doing our monthly thing. We have 3 rock star presenters.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. There's one of them. So we have Tom Daves, Marissa, and Amir all speaking. You know you're legit when your name is your full name. Like it's Amir and Marissa. But for Tom Daves, you got to say the whole thing. Right? It's like Brad Pitt. It's Brad Pitt, Tom Daves, right? So, anyways, we'll have those 3 people speaking on lead generation. So whether you're selling, 1 home a month or, many homes a month, we're going to be learning about that. So ignite your pipeline at PCAR. It's free 10 to 12 next Thursday. And then we also have coming up EXP on October 2nd through the 5th. You with EXP or you want to learn more about EXP, highly recommend you attend this event. This is where all the leaders go when you get a chance to meet the CEOs, the C-suite, other agents in the company that are succeeding. It's a great place to rub shoulders and meet new people. Maui's coming up in January. That'll be a good time. But the one that you don't want to miss, the favorite event that we put on every single year is Cabo. People love Cabo because you get to learn a lot about real estate. You get to hang out with some great people, and it's Cabo, right? You're on an all-inclusive resort in Cabo. So if Cabo doesn't sell it, I don't know what will.
And come out there for Brent's birthday.
Oh yeah, it's not just a regular event. This is gonna be Brent's birthday bash in Cabo this month or this year. So don't miss that. And then last but certainly not least, in the wonderful world of events, this is we're gonna be doing Oktoberfest at 8 p.m. Rather than me tell you about this event, we'll just slide right into the lender update. JJ, what do you got for us?
Yeah.
Give a round of applause, everybody.
You guys, as always, and yeah, Oktoberfest coming up next Thursday, a week from today. Coming out, you guys all deserve some fun. The difficult market. This is for you, just to come out and enjoy some time, get some drinks, get some food, get some polka music, wear your lederhosen, and we'll see you there. Wiedersehen means we'll see you soon. I think.
Where's it at?
It's at our office. It's right off of Lava Ridge. So if you guys were at the last PCAR event, we went over there afterwards. So same place, you're gonna be in the parking lot. We've got the whole thing sectioned off. It's gonna be, the food is gonna be amazing. If you guys have ever been to this before, we get it catered by a German place down in Sacramento. Amazing. So come on out, it's gonna be fun. Thanks so much, guys. And yeah, so coming right into it, again, I'm JJ Mack. I work with American Pacific Mortgage. I'm a branch manager and a loan officer. And what I wanted to talk about today, well, a couple things. But first of all, have you guys heard of Jocko Willink?
Of course.
Yeah. Oh man, what a presenter, right?
Yeah.
And what a guy, what a badass.
Yeah.
And so
For sure.
if you guys haven't, watch his stuff, go to his events, go to his thing. So this last time I watched him a couple days ago,
Explain who he is to those who don't know.
he was an ex-Navy SEAL.
Yeah.
And he's got many different types of like the silver hearts and whatnot of what he's done for our
All about
country.
leadership.
All about leadership, 100%. And one of the things that I took away with on the last presentation I just watched, and I wanted to share it with you guys before I get into more of the lender stuff, because I thought it was super important, was he talked about training. And we have time in this business right now to train, right? We're not doing as much as we used to do in 2020, 2021.
Come on.
We've got some things to do, right?
Yep.
So let's get out there and train. What he said was 99% of a Navy SEAL's life is about training. Only 1% is actually execution of that training.
That's a writer downer.
Right?
Yeah.
I did. So you get out there and you do, and I can tell you myself, these last 15 years I've been in the business, I've been the exact opposite. 99% of my time has been working on my business, trying to get loans, doing the things that I think were important. We're not working on myself. We're not working, because when I work on myself, when I train myself to be a better person, a better loan officer, it's going to automatically allow me to get more business, right? It's just going to happen naturally. And so when you have people, and you know what, the one person that I think of is Brent. Because you know what Brent has done in his life when he was going through all this? He was training his butt off, right? He was going to all the events. He gets up here and he says, I didn't have a penny to my name, but I was still going to the events. He was still doing these things. And so it made me think of that when I heard Jonko talking about it. And so I just wanted to share that with you all because I thought it was super relevant of the time that we're in right now and the difficulty that we have in this business. Get out there and train and do the things because it's going to make you a better person overall and allow you to get more business in the future. With that being said, I'm sure a lot of you are wondering what's going on in the market right now. Anybody have questions about interest rates?
Yeah.
What's happening?
Yeah.
What does the crystal ball say?
So yeah, basically, what I'll say is, you've probably heard that this month, or this next month, they're going to not raise rates again, right? They're probably going to level things off. What's that going to do to the market? What's that going to do to the rate? Is that going to all of a sudden explode to where rates are going to come down and we're going to see the market where we were? Probably not. They probably aren't going to raise rates again. They're not at their threshold. They wanted to have inflation be to 2%. We're not quite there yet, but with the things that they've done, we should continue to see that being lowered. And so inflation should naturally come down based off the things that the Fed has done in the previous past here. And so with that being said, we think that rates will level off. We think that things will be very similar to where they are today. What does that mean for you as an agent? It means that you continue to do the things that you're doing, right? Continuing to educate your clients that once rates do come down, the demand for the market is going to get crazy. And even though there is competition out there right now, this is not any competition compared to what it's going to be. We all remember what it was like just a couple of years ago. So, make sure our clients are knowing that. Make sure we're educating them. Make sure they understand, especially first-time home buyers that probably won't be able to buy a home in a couple of years when those rates do come down. So educate your clients and make sure when you do talk to them, make sure they're with a lender that knows how to educate them on the interest rates and where they're going to be in the future. So that way, when they're running those pricing scenarios for them, and they say, just as an example, Lindsay's my loan partner. We had a client this last week came to us, a real estate agent called us and said, hey, I just sent my niece over to my lender. And I heard you guys talking, and this lender completely messed it up. He said, this is what you qualify for. Here's the interest rate. Here's the payment. He didn't ask what they were interested in. He didn't ask what their payment was. He didn't ask about what they wanted. All he did was tell them what they qualified for. And that made them feel like they couldn't buy a house because the price was way more than they wanted it to be. The interest rate was way over what they could have qualified for, and they just weren't comfortable with it. And so when we got on the phone with them, Lindsay was talking to him and she said, I can't do it. I don't want to do this anymore because of what this other loan officer told me I don't feel comfortable. So I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to do this. I'm going to wait and see what happens. After continuing to talk to him, we told them, hey, there's other options out there. You probably haven't heard everything that was going on in the industry and what other potential options there. This guy didn't even talk about 2-1 buy downs. He didn't even know that there was a possibility that the payment could be lower. So, you know, as a realtor, please do yourself a favor and make sure your client is getting the best possible lender representation as they can. So that way you aren't losing your business over this. And remember, interest rates, even though they probably won't go down or up in the near future, they probably will stay consistent. So keep doing the things that you are doing today. Any questions that committee vetting here? Drew, yeah.
And so as it being consistent today, what are we looking at as the interest rates as of today?
So rates as a conventional loan and even FHA, we are floating between that 6.75 to 7.25% range. Good credit and all the right things. If you're looking at Cal Halfa, what's Cal Halfa doing?
Yeah, for conventional, well, yesterday, I don't know today, but yesterday FHA was 0.75 for down payment, first time homebuyer down payment assistance with FHA, and it was 7 to 7.125 for conventional, depending on they tier it based on income. So
Cal Halfa has it. Usually they have a slightly lower interest rate. So
yeah, that was one of the other things that the other lender for this scenario JJ was talking about. They are first time home buyers and they had no idea about any home buyer options, and you know, just had to give them much, and they were very discouraged. And we're finding that in this market it doesn't take much to discourage people. They're already relatively discouraged going into it.
Yeah.
So making sure they are armed with all the information and different scenarios, put them in a range that feels comfortable for them is super important.
yeah. Any other questions? Anything else you guys want to go over with lending wise? Yeah, go ahead.
What time is the October Fest?
It's 4 to 6. Yeah,
4 to 6.
it'll probably go longer than that, but yeah, 4 to 6.
Great, thanks.
Yeah.
Flyers.
I will. Yeah, the flyer is up there. I can.
Yeah, and then-
I can send it out to you guys too.
Here, I'll put it in the chat as well. Oh boy, not the cigar night. That's something else. All right.
Thank you so much,
Yeah,
guys.
thank you, JJ. All right. We got another presenter before we bring our keynote, Sarah, to the front of the Zoom call. Eric, mind coming up and sharing with us real quick? Awesome.
Before I get into a very exciting announcement, this meeting happens every week and it's an extraordinary meeting. But you guys all agree with me? It's a great meeting. And we have an extraordinary leader in the room, which is Johnny. And Johnny makes this meeting happen
Thank you.
with excellence every week. So let's give Johnny a big round of applause. So real quick, I love helping people like you with prospecting. And is there anyone here that would acknowledge, hey, I'd like to be doing more prospecting in my business? Okay, so I got a real solution for you. And the price is right, it's free. So here's how you do it if you want. Every Wednesday, starting this coming Wednesday, for 1 hour, I'm going to do a group Zoom that you and your organization is invited to attend. I'm going to get a customized link like prospectingwithrealestateagents.com, something like that. I don't have it today. This is my cell phone. If you want me to invite you, there's no opt-in. I just give you the customized link and you just show up whenever you want. We're going to block out an hour and you're not going to hear me train for an hour, although I'm going to train for a little bit. You're going to come to this and do 20 prospecting outreaches during that hour. So all you have to do is just show up whenever you want, whatever frequency. You do 20 prospecting touches to grow your production and grow your agent attraction. So is there anybody that would be excited about doing an extra 20 outreaches a week? Okay, so come hang out with me if you want. And this is open to anybody in your organization. Next week's the first one. Super excited about it. I presented this to Brent. He said, Eric, go for it. So that's what's happening. Text me if you want information and I'll turn it back over to John.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right. Well, the time is, oh, but before I forget, let me turn this thing towards me. For those of you who want to, after the meeting, we're gonna be going to our new space. So we're gonna do a quick 10-minute tour. So for those of you who would like to, please, just we'll scoot on over there. It'll be 10 minutes. Another benefit for showing up in person. I get it if you can't, if you're somewhere else in the country, get it, but show up in person. It's more fun. And we're gonna be showing you the new space. Okay, so just hang out for the last little bit and we'll get to see the work of it's a blank canvas right now. So don't judge us. It's a blank canvas. It's gonna be bougie when it's done. But let's go. We'll go there right after the meeting. Okay. So with that, let's please everybody give a warm welcome to Sarah. I can't pronounce your last name, Sarah. Welcome, Sarah.
Thank you, thank you. My last name, that's a real issue for everyone. It's Delancig. Most people
Delancig.
say, yeah, Delancing, but it's Delancig, just like it's spelled. So Sarah Delancig, that's me. Hi, thank you so much for being here. The guy that was just on, I didn't get his name, but I wrote his info down. He was talking about prospecting, and I'm so glad all of you decided not to like call in today because a lot of people don't like that little F word, which is follow up. And so today we're going to be talking about the future of follow up, aka prospecting. So with that being said, I'm going to jump right in, and I want this to be interactive. Like, kind of like, just go where it takes us. So if you guys have questions, I'm going to try to see you, but I'm going to share my screen. So if I don't see you, type in the chat or just come off mute. So, all right. And I do need to share the same screen I'm on, don't I? That's not what you all want to see. Hold. I put it on this screen and here we go. Okay. So there we go. All right. Okay, so again, I'm Sarah Delancig. I am also a real estate agent at EXP. This is my background. I'm not like your typical agent that you probably see. I got my license almost 2 years ago, so it's time to renew now. But before that, I was an ISA team leader and trainer for a real estate coaching and consulting company. And I came in there and I am very outgoing. I'm not, I'm not afraid to talk to anyone. I'm not intimidated by anyone, but making phone calls to people to invite them to a real estate event. That was my first job at this real estate coaching company. And I was listening to all these young guys. They were like 17, 18, 19. And I'm in my 40s now. So, but this was about 3 or 4 years ago. And I hear them on the phone and they're like, hello. And they're like, they sound so professional. And I'm like, oh man. And I'm over there like, hi, my name's Sarah. I just wanted to see if we have a really exciting real estate training event coming up in your area. Wanted to know if you'd be interested in attending or something like that. And I was having a ton of success doing what I was doing. And they said to me, they're like, oh, Sarah, people just feel sorry for you. Because you sound kind of like you don't like, they just feel sorry for you. That's what they told me. And I'm like, that's crazy. But I was setting a lot more coaching appointments and selling a lot more, tickets to go to the event and stuff like that than they were. I was absolutely crushing them. So I was like, I don't think that's what it is. I think it's because I'm authentic. I think it's because I'm being real and they're being kind of salesy, right? So I want to tell you that because I understand and I get it. Follow up is something that people are like, oh, making calls. And they immediately have this thought in their mind that that's a dreaded task. Like, is there anybody, like I can see a little bit, but anybody at the table in Gove Enterprises, how many of you love to make phone calls? Anyone? There's one. Okay, we got. I was like, this is Brent's team. I'm like, there's got to be a few, right? But the majority. So when I got my license and decided to start selling real estate, I would attend meetings like this, but more for the public, like Agent Power Huddle with Jesse Zagorski or things like that, right? And I would go to them religiously and I would watch the people. And the number one thing I kept hearing people ask is, what do I say when I call people? You paid for the leads, right? How many of you are actually getting online leads? Any like paying for Facebook leads, anything like that?
I am, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So this works with anyone. My specialty is kind of online leads, but it works with anything. So we'll get into it. Okay. So as I was, getting licensed, I realized that I didn't find as much joy in selling real estate that I did in setting appointments. Setting appointments was really hard, and I was really good at it, and I quickly became the team leader, and I did all this stuff, and it was immediate, like I felt satisfaction right away. Whereas in real estate, you know, you have these massive wins, right? Like getting a closing, like getting somebody under contract, right? Which I did have, but it was few and far between. It wasn't for me. And just to stay in the business, right? Like I was in a point where I was paying more in the NAR fees and the MLS dues and the e-key fees and all the things, to stay in real estate. So I was like, I should try to help some of these agents who don't know how to make calls, and then they can pay me to make their calls. And then that's kind of how I became the owner of an ISA company. And I'm not here to promote that ISA company. As a matter of fact, we're just a tiny little boutique thing. And so that we'll just put that aside. But what I've learned from making the calls and being a real estate agent and doing the things, all of the things, right? That's what I want to share with you, because I attended all of the classes, and I paid probably thousands of dollars for training from other people to tell me how to make calls, so that, like, because I wanted to know, was I doing it the most effective way, right? So I'm going to show you what happened with that. But I also want to just let you know, although I have no, like, if you looked me up, I have no transactions, and I'm getting my very first recruit, right? So I'm a very different type of speaker on this. That being said, I've set over 850 appointments in the last 18 months, and I probably had my best month last month. So I understand that you guys are like, oh, the real estate market and like everything that's going on. It doesn't matter. You just have to have the right mindset, and we'll talk about it. So I also just put in here that I have a BA in psychology from UW because I paid for it, and it's actually kind of but that's kind of what it's good for right now. I was also nominated to be a speaker at the Shareholder Summit, and I was a speaker, and I'm very proud of that. And that's kind of how I got connected with Brent. Well, that's another story, but I approached Brent, and here we are. Okay, so now you're all like, okay, where are we going with this? Well, why is follow-up important? I'm sure you all know why follow-up is important. I'm sure you're like, Sarah, we've heard this a million times. And we all know why it's important, but sometimes you just need to see these statistics to really understand. And with that being said, this is a quote: following up establishes your reputation as being diligent and dedicated. And I think it's Ryan Serhant, but I'm not sure how to say his last name either. Just like people can't say my last name, I don't know how to say his. But he says, that's his quote, but this is like what you really need to understand. How many times do you call someone, and on the very first call, they're ready to go. They're ready to sign up. Does that, it hardly ever happens, right? It's only 2% of all sales, not just real estate sales, but all sales are made on the first attempt of contact, right? So that means you have to be consistent, which we totally understand. I heard a story today, which I'm going to share from a really good book by Rick Rubin that my husband was listening to as a musician. Side note, but it's a really good book. And he was talking about a basketball coach who was like this famous, like the most winning basketball coach for college ever. I think his name was Woodson. And he said that the first thing that he would teach the players when they come in is how to tie their shoes, because the way that they tied their shoes had a direct impact on the game. And they're like, oh, we're gonna get taught something so brilliant from this brilliant mind. And what does he want to start with? The fundamentals, right? So I want to put that out there, because you have to be consistent to make these things happen. You have to start implementing and building on that foundation, right? Okay, so you can see these statistics, right? 65% of companies don't even nurture leads they paid to get. Like, what are you doing if you're paying for something, right? Like, you have to nurture it. And I agree. I don't like calling them leads at one, they're people you want to connect with, right? They're not leads. If you think of it as leads, now they're an inanimate object and it doesn't matter. I used to think of them as seeds. I was like, it's something that needs to grow. And I like that still too. But when you think of them as real people, and you see them as human, then you're going to treat them as human. And I think that's really important too. So, so these are the statistics, right? This is what I started doing to not let those statistics or the interest rates or anything else get in my head, because what I saw when I got into real estate was a lot of people that didn't know what to do. A lot of agents that were trying to hold on to what they did know how to do and not share it with anyone else. Not at EXP though, not at EXP, which is why I love EXP. And a lot of people that were just scared of it, right? Like, so they need to get their head in the game. And one of the things that I did for my team and for other people, and I really like talking to teams, because I think that that's where you have the most fun. So working in an office, like I think it was JJ was saying, like that's where I had the most impact, was like working with the team. We're all making calls, we're all hearing each other's calls, and we can all pull things from what's working for them and putting it into our own things and all of that. But also visualizing success and having these affirmations. So I'm going to tell you a story about these affirmations. I created a follow-up course in the last like it was probably like 6 months. And when I talked to Brent about doing this, I had no intention of like, I don't want to sell my ISA services or anything like that. But I saw there's a huge need for real estate agents to get some help and to stop doing hearing the same thing that we've heard for 20 plus years. And I'm sorry, but it's not working anymore. And so I created these affirmations for this course, and I did them. And the 2 days that I did them, I got a $2 million buyer and seller in the same, like, you know, on the buy side and sell side, and a $1.2 million buyer. And these were in like the Phoenix area. So I was like, this is working. So I've been having my team do these affirmations every day. So I want you guys to, like, if you can take a screenshot of this, and if you do this before you make your calls, this is really going to help you, because a lot of this is really about your mindset. And I bring that up because also in my research for what I was doing when I was putting all this together, I found this study on water molecules. And you may have heard this, you may have not, but if you haven't heard this, this is one of the coolest things I've ever heard. They did a study in Japan, and they prayed over water molecules. And when they showed the effects of prayer on water molecules, or even just setting an intention, it actually changed the structure of the molecule into something beautiful. It looked like a snowflake. And I didn't have time to put the pictures in here, but you can Google it. I think it's Moto, Dr. Moto, but it's a Japanese study, water molecules. And then when they did something negative, so if they were like, oh, you're ugly, water, or they said something negative to the water, or they tried to do, then it actually had an impact on it. And my point is that we're made up of mostly water, right? So our thoughts and what we think and how we feel, those things are going to impact the outcome of these follow-up calls, right? And so it's really important to set yourself up for success, get your head in the game, and start telling yourself these things and seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, visualizing all of it, all that kind of stuff, right? But you might be like, well, it's no fun. It's no fun to make calls, right? So I'm going to give you something. This is, you guys can see this whole thing, right? Like I have people's faces down here, but okay, let me put this up here. You can see the whole bingo sheet.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So this bingo sheet, you can adjust it. I recently took off deceased. I felt like that was a little morbid. But this is something that I think as a team, you guys, it's really impactful and it's a lot of fun. And I used to do this for my ISA team. We probably had, I want to say 10 of us, and we even had the receptionist. I gave them a bingo sheet to do it too, because people would call back and then the receptionist wanted in on it. I would give a $20 gift card or something like that if somebody, you know, got a bingo, or maybe a $50 gift card if they black it out. But this motivates people to make calls and it's fun. And then when you get hung up on, it's not so bad, right? Because now you're like, oh, well, I just got to mark that off, right? So this is one of the ways you can have fun with it. Okay.
Can you send that to us?
Yeah, I can email it to you. You want me to email it to you?
Yeah, go ahead and just email it to me, Sarah. I'll get it to the group.
Okay, I'll text you after this. We'll figure it out.
Okay.
Okay. So kind of going along with the slide before this, which it should have been, sorry, it's a little out of whack right now, but I want to show you this because the chances of you actually getting in touch with someone, right? Like I almost removed this, but somebody from my team when I was practicing was like, no, don't remove it. It's actually really helpful information. I was like, okay. So there on the first line, the first time you call, yeah, you have like a 48% chance of reaching the person, but it keeps going up. So what I'm going to tell you is that like I call consistently. I don't call like maybe like Brent Gove 20 years ago. Okay. I don't call like that. I'm not like bulldog dialing. This is a completely different way of follow-up, and I'm not knocking that style, but I realized it didn't really work for me. But I found a way to do it, and I'm going to share it with you. So let me know if I'm low on time because I can't really see a clock. Okay, so let's talk about these things first. For better or for worse, good or bad, the trends of what happened in 2020 when the interest rates went down and we pretty much didn't have to deal with objections. The objections were like, are you going to get an inspection or are you not? Right? Like that's not what we deal with today, right? Back then you could go door knocking. Well, now if somebody knocks on my door, first of all, my dogs are going to go crazy. And then I'm going to pull up my Blink camera and I'm going to look at who it is. And if I don't want to talk to you, I can just ignore you, or I can like talk to you through the screen, right? Like that's how we're handling it nowadays, right? So it's you can still do these things. I'm not saying you can't, right? You go to church, you cold call, you circle prospect, you send mailers, and I did these things when I first got my license too. And I didn't see a whole lot of success. And because we got so busy, we had to outsource, we had to automate. And now what's happening is they're turning to AI. As a matter of fact, I heard a fully automated AI call where an AI was actually, it was a sales call and he had like a British accent. It was like, wow, like that's crazy to me. But I mean, it sounded legit, but like that's kind of scary to me. I like the human element of it because I feel like when you are a human, people connect with you, and then you find your tribe, and then you find the people that are going to continue to buy and sell with you, and you have referrals and all that good stuff from there, right? Okay. So what I did is I split tests. Like I said earlier, I paid for other people's follow-up plans when I first started my business. I'm like, okay, I need to know the best way to do this and all of that. And I found the same thing I was told. Incessantly call them. Don't leave a voicemail. And send them vague text messages like, are you giving up? Right? Or things like that. So these are the things that I was taught that I paid for. And like I said, I'm not knocking it, but it wasn't working for what I was doing, which was calling like old, stale internet leads, like people that were browsing websites, Google pay-per-click, like 7 months ago, 2 years ago, even 4 years ago in some cases, right? And so I was like, I need to make sure that what I'm talking about actually works how I think it works, right? So I did a split test and I did it their way. And I did the bulldog dial and I did it with the same kind of leads and for the same client and everything like that. And this is the result. Now, 117 were connected. Now, in that case, only 53 turned into conversations, right? So the other, however many that is, could have been like wrong number or sorry, we already bought, already sold, have an agent, something like that, right? So out of 53 conversations, I think I did pretty good with 41 opportunities and 5 appointments. Now, what I mean by opportunities, they agreed to property alerts, or they agreed to market updates, or they agreed to a CMA. I only consider an appointment is if they actually talk to the real estate agent. Make sense? Okay. So with the way that I was following up, that was through Follow Up Boss, just so you know, on the left. The other way that I did it, I couldn't track conversations and stuff. It didn't track the same way. But I do know I made 1,046 calls. I set 20 appointments and I had 204 opportunities in the same amount of time. And so you're like, okay, what's the secret sauce? All right, well, let's get into it. The first thing is provide value with every single contact attempt. you can either send video or digital content. It should be something related to their needs, right? And if you're like, Sarah, I've heard this, I don't want to do video. That's okay, right? You don't have to be like everyone else. As a matter of fact, the point is for you to not be like everyone else. We don't want all to look like the same real estate agents going around saying the same thing, making the same videos, talking the same way. That is not what makes you and what makes people want to work with you. Okay. So what do people want to know? Well, if they're clicking on something like, they want to know how much their home is worth. This is a real ad that is run on Facebook. Like, hey, click here to get your home's value, right? Well, in that case, I might send them something like a home seller myth. Now, if you're like, well, I don't know what to say, how do I make a video? This is why when I created the course that I created, I did it super low key. I recorded it with Zoom, right? Right now, I don't have any makeup on. You can't tell because I love Zoom. All right. I even text Johnny. I'm like, is it on Zoom? Because if it's not on Zoom, I got to go get Google Meet and then I got to put makeup on. And so look, I look great because it's got a little touch up your appearance filter. And so I can make a video on Zoom that looks pretty good with no makeup on. So there's not really any excuse there for that. All right. The other thing is I also did it on my phone. So there's little, like if you have a teenager around, they can show you how to do it with Snapchat. There's plenty of video filters out there. The point is you can mess up too. And ChatGPT can tell you what to say. And ChatGPT can give you bullet points if it's too long. But you're all a lot smarter than you think. Follow-up calls does not take much effort. Making a phone call is easy, right? I don't know why real estate agents are so scared of it. Preparing a contract is hard. I mean, that's right. That's what I think. I mean, like preparing a contract, getting someone through the closing table and on the other side, like that's hard. Making a phone call where only 10% of people pick up. I mean, not so hard. And I got cussed out really bad the other day. And you know what? I was like, that's awesome. Thank you. Because you know what happened right after that? I knew that something good was going to happen. And that's where it comes back to your mindset. So I actually made a video. I said, you want to give me bad vibes? I'm going to turn them into good vibes. And I put it out there. And that's the reality of it. Because right after that, I got an awesome person. She was a little skeptical at first, but she heard my authentic, reasoning and heard me out. So let's get back to this. So when I'm calling these people, I don't aggressively call them. I always leave a voicemail on the first call. For example, I'd be like, hey, this is Sarah with eXp Realty. I saw you were checking out homes on our website recently. Wanted to see if you'd like to go check out 123 Street. I saw you favorited it. I have some open slots this weekend. Let me know. Right? So I leave a pretty personalized one on the very first attempt. Then I send a similar text, which I will show you. And I make sure that I send something of value. So I'll show you that too. But I also want, when you get on the phone with them, sometimes they're mad. They're like, yeah, I clicked it, but I didn't think that somebody was going to call me. Oh my gosh, I totally get it. You know what? As real estate agents, we just want to make sure that you didn't think that we dropped the ball on you. If you did want us to call you and help you out, I get it if you're just looking right now. Most people who view homes on our website are, but would it be helpful since you already gave us your email to, send you some market updates so you can keep your finger on the pulse of what's happening? How about that, right? Is that easy?
Yes.
We're all tracking, right? Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
no, it's good. Sorry.
No, it's all good. Okay, so I have these ones specifically these are examples from exactly what I do. And I set them up. I wasn't sure what your team did. So I just decided to go with a Downsizer ad. A Downsizer ad is basically like you're scrolling on Facebook and it says, want to upgrade your home, or want to upgrade your lifestyle, but have a smaller home with one level, no stairs, something like that. Right. And so they get a list of homes in a certain county or in a certain city, and that's what this comes from. So this is a real text. Bill is actually one of my clients. So for me, I send it out. Hi, Donna. This is Sarah with the Bill Gustin Real Estate Team. He was with eXp. He's coming back. Don't worry. But that silly name, totally about houses in Indianapolis. Sorry about that. And I say you requested a list of one-level homes from us online recently. Did you get that okay in your email? I use emojis because I realized that not a lot of AI did. Like AI didn't do it, and you know, just like all of the automated stuff wasn't doing it. Now they do. But this is the key component right here, is this downsizing 101. So if you watch this video, you guys might be a little intimidated. You might be like, oh wow, that's like a really nice video. All of this stuff is out there on how to do this. I myself am learning how to put, you know, like a preview onto a YouTube channel and all of that stuff. But everything is pretty much free out there, and you can find it, and it can help you figure out how to do this. So, and you don't even need to do it that like to that level. The point is that the preview of the YouTube video will show up on their phone. Okay, this is the secret sauce of what I do. The preview of the YouTube video shows up and it says Downsizing 101 with Bill Gustin, right? Or something like that. They don't even need to click on the video, but now they've seen his face. So now they start to know, like, and trust him. And they see that he's an authority and they trust YouTube. YouTube is the best one to do this on. I will say, people ask me, should I do it on BombBomb? Should I do it this way? Should I do it that way? I personally think YouTube is the very best because you can grow your social media presence at the same time as following up, right? People will click on these things and then they'll want to come back. I send something like that every single time. If you don't have a YouTube channel yet, you can make videos on Facebook. Well, first of all, I would say get one and start doing it. But I would also say there's other alternatives. There are buyer's guides, seller's guides. You could do an intro video really quick. You could do your website, but those things don't give the same impact as an actual preview. If you saw this text, this is not representative of the text, because there should be like a whole little thing here that says click to preview, and it has a little play button and you can watch it right in your iPhone, right? So that's kind of the way that works. This is another one for the home value. And I changed these emojis to represent, so like this, the time of year, right? You know, right now it's moving into fall. So this is going to get changed to like a maple leaf or something like that. In the winter, it's a snowflake or snowman, right? You follow me? And then you change the hands. I just go with the basic yellow. I'm white as can be, and I'm afraid it won't show up on the background. I'm just kidding. But anyways, okay, so the other thing is you can do it with the Facebook Watch. Now, the problem with Facebook is that it will say log into Facebook instead of show a preview, okay? So that's not necessarily the best way to do it. Also, always test these from a number that is not saved. Send it to yourself first. Okay, because what ends up happening a lot of the time is that it looks like it sent it and the preview will show up, but it didn't really. So Follow Up Boss is working on it. Chime actually fixed it recently, just so you know. I haven't tested it on KV Core in a few months, so test it, but they are working on it and I'm sure they'll get there. Okay. Okay, so the other point of what I do is, regardless of whatever follow-up plan you use, it's really, really important that you speak to them like a friend. Don't get on there and be like, hello, this is Sarah Delancig with eXp Realty. How are you today? I mean, that does not sound anything like who I really am. It doesn't come across authentic. It doesn't, like, immediately you can tell it's a sales call. I'm going to get hung up on. They're not even going to talk to, like, right? So I like to lower defenses, right? Sometimes I'll even be like, hey, my name is Sarah. I work with, this real estate team, or I work with eXp Realty, and I'm not trying to sell you anything. I just want to make sure that you received the list of one-level homes that you requested through Facebook the other day in your email. Sometimes it goes to spam, and I don't want you to think that we wouldn't follow through on what you wanted, right? So I've done it that way. I've even recently been like on the newest voicemails, I'll be like, hey, I get that you might just be looking. I want to let you know that I'm here for you and available if you have real estate questions at all, right? So that we're lowering their defenses, but at the same time, because they don't normally pick up, right? And if we go back to the contact probability arc, it's going to be like on the 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th attempt. Then what we should be doing is building that value over those attempts. So every time I call, I send a text with a video that has something to do with what they're interested in. It could be as simple as like, is it a good, is Vegas a good place for kids? Stuff like that. So let me see what my next slide is. Oh, I want to tell this story really, really quick if I have time. So when somebody says something like this to you, I'm too busy right now, I'm getting married soon. The reaction, like, isn't that awesome? Don't take it as like, this is where you put the focus on them and not on yourself trying to make a sale, which is, if we go back to the affirmations and what somebody was saying at the very beginning of this meeting, it's about the focus is not on you, it's on other people, right? So they're telling you something awesome is happening in their life. That's amazing. Oh, how exciting. When is the wedding? Ask them questions like that. Treat them like a friend. Don't treat them like they're a prospect, a potential buyer, a potential seller. Treat them like somebody that you want to connect with. And eventually the business will come too, because you'll build relationships, right? Another one was, I'm just focused on growing my business right now and I stopped looking for homes. This was a person that told me that. And I said, awesome, like, what's your business? And then I ended up connecting them with the real estate agent because they did like a spotlight on small businesses in the area, and it was a small market in Casper, Wyoming. Okie dokie. All right, so this is something I have as well. I want to give you guys some pointers on this. So the 7 effective follow-up techniques. Number 1, you have to make time for this, and when you make time for it, make sure that you have an environment that is conducive to this. I have a guy in the course like that is dancing, and he's playing like dancing to Sweet Dreams Are Made of These, and like making his follow-up calls, like standing up dancing, and then he turns the music down as soon as somebody hops on the phone. Like I said, only 10% of people answer. So he's like having fun in the right mindset, right? So make sure your environment and make sure your time is set up. So give yourself a reminder to do this, have it pop up on your phone, and don't ignore it, right? So many times we ignore it. Don't ignore it. Make the time, follow through, do what you say you're going to do, and then you'll find success through it. All right. Know your role just means like, you know better than anyone what you're good at and what you like and what you could represent. If you're like, Sarah, I don't know what videos to make. You know your community, don't you? I mean, you're all real estate agents. You guys know the market better than anyone. You know, like the areas, the neighborhoods. What's it like to live where you're at? You know, what's it like to live in Lakeland Hills? What's it, what are the pros and cons? Things I wish I would have known before I moved to Lakeland Hills. Those are all like buzzwords that people would really watch videos on. And so try to, think of what you want to know. Put yourself in their shoes. What would you want to know? What would you want to see? I will tell you this, the way that I do it, I don't get told stop very often. It's a lot less than when I was split testing it and I was just leaving vague voicemails or not leaving voicemails at all, bulldog dialing, calling incessantly and tricking them to get them on the phone. Now I get, thank you for sending me that. I'll check it out. Now they'll ignore me and then they call me 8 months later and they say, hey, I'm ready. So last month, I had the best month. I was setting 3 appointments a day and I make about 100 calls a day. And I'm telling you, I wouldn't have thought that with almost 7% interest rates, right? But it's not about the interest rates. It's really not. It's about like people still need to live. People still need to do things. So, so know your role, know what you can provide, and make sure that you let people know that. Then provide the value. That's self-explanatory. Use video. This is how people get to see your face and hear your voice and things like that. That's where they're really going to click. Okay. Be a problem solver. That does not mean argue with people. If somebody tells you, like, I am not the person that's going to come up here and be like, hey, I have all the objections and I can tell you exactly what to do and blah, blah, blah. I'm not that person. I can tell you how to be authentic and how you should call. The way that I call online internet leads, when they click on something, I call them as soon as possible. I send them a text. I call them again in 2 days, send them a text. I call them again in a week and send them a text. 2 weeks, send them a text. 3 weeks, call them, send them a text. 4 weeks, and then I do it every month until they pick up the phone. And they do. You'd be surprised. I've done this with like the minimal amount of leads. And it is shocking how many times it has just like, they finally pick up the phone, even landlines, which is really shocking because those are even more difficult because you can't send a text. Okay, so find ways to relate, like I said, about like, you know, if they have a small business or, you know, just ask about them, right? And then follow through. Follow through is really, really important, obviously. That's why I just gave you my follow-up plan and how it works. The traditional follow-up plans are like call 3 times a day for 3 days, and then call 2 times a day for 2 weeks or something like that. And, you know, and don't leave voicemails, bulldog dial, things like that. So that's not my style and it doesn't work for me. Okay, so to recap, there are many ways to follow up with your people that you want to connect with. The most important part is that you actually do it. You don't want to act like it's a business call. You need to treat everyone as a prospect, as if they're your friend, and you know, you want to help your friend out. Talk to them that way. Don't put on a fake voice and put on a front when you call people. Provide value with every single contact attempt by using video or digital marketing materials or tools strategically in your texts and emails, and then be honest. That's another thing I always tell people. I'm like, hey, I totally get it. I know you're upset that happened. You know, or if it's a wrong number. Oh, whoever Mary is, she keeps using my phone number, and just if you could tell Mary to, you know, I'm like, well, unfortunately I can't, but what I can tell you is if you reply stop to any text messages you get, then it will automatically cut them off if it's coming from anything other than a personal cell phone. And you should just pick up the phone and let them know that you're not Mary, and eventually they'll stop. So I'm honest with people. I don't argue with them. And that's kind of that. So this here is, I set up a promo code, EXP25, all lowercase, for the course. It's called Follow-Up Foundations, and it's very low, but like I told you guys, I am not like famous, super famous, and like have all this money. I'm an average agent, right? I don't have drones, and I don't have green screens, and I don't have video editors, and I don't have all this stuff, right? So I'm just doing this with minimal stuff that is free to me, and I share all of that as much as I can. And with this promo code, you get 25% off the course, which I think makes it like around $200 or maybe less. I'm not sure. It's normally 300. So I guess whatever that is, I'm not doing math right now, but, and what I do want to say is that I hope that you guys will find me. I'm really, really passionate. I wasn't even going to sell anything on this, just so you know. But I do think that not everybody can hire an ISA. And so that's why this course is something that I was super excited about to share with everyone, because I really, really wanted people to be able to learn how to gain some confidence in calling and see that there's another way, because it's not like, it doesn't have to be the same stuff we've heard for 20 plus years about just like aggressively calling people, which can scare some people. So thank you very much.
Awesome. Let me give a round of applause.
Thank you. Thank you.
We are tight on time, but we have helpful
Sorry.
questions, huh?
So yeah, does someone have a question? You cut out for a
Great
second.
things, and I want to just get a little bit more. Can you hear me?
A little bit.
Sarah,
Can you
hear me?
Oh, I can now. Yeah.
It says our connection is, let's say.
Can you hear me now?
What's
Yes.
your question?
Okay, so the question is, you said you make 100 calls to get 3 appointments. That's 3%. So what happens with the rest of them? Do you leave voicemails? You said use video. Do you send them a video if you don't talk to them? How do you keep track of them? And I know it's like after the 7th call before they'll say yes or get an appointment. That's a ton of calls that you're making, not just for today, but all the days following up with people that you called last week. How do you do that?
Yeah, so I am very careful about my time and making sure that I don't take on too many leads. So I have like a limit on the number of leads that I can call, right? So I know that for me personally, I can make anywhere from 20 to 60 calls an hour. And I always leave a voicemail, and I always send a text with a video afterwards. So on every call attempt. So that, I hope that's clear, because that is really, really crucial to the whole follow-up system. It is the most important part, because most people don't answer, but they will answer eventually, you know, if you are giving them value and if they're hearing it, you know, time and time again, right? So they're seeing the same thing. And plus it's not scary to click on a YouTube video that says, oh, I'm looking at what it's like to live in Phoenix. Yeah, I want to know that. So let me go ahead and watch this video really quick on what they're saying, and then they get used to it. So does that answer your question?
It does. Just quickly on the automation part, do you leave voicemail live, or do you use an auto dialer where you just hit a button and it leaves a voicemail for you so you can go on to the next call? And with the video, is that a one-to-one video that you do live for them, or is it a pre-recorded YouTube link that you send them?
Pre-recorded YouTube link, community-based content. That's what
Okay.
that is. And I do use a dialer, and I record a different voicemail. So the very first call, I always leave custom. The very first call, very custom. I say their name if I can pronounce it. And then from there, I leave something generic. Hey, it's Sarah with eXp Realty again, just checking in. Please give me a call back. Something like that. And then I just switch that up every time after that. But I never want to leave the same voicemail twice, or anything like that.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other
Wonderful. So
questions?
you leave a voicemail, do you follow it up with a text as well, or is it just the voicemail?
Absolutely. So that is the secret sauce of it all. Like, you do not want, like, if I leave a voicemail, a text message is going, period. The only time that you can't do that is if it's a landline, which is a very small percentage.
Awesome. Awesome. One last question. Any last questions? Or are we good? All right. My last question was, I noticed the link takes you to Street Text. Street Text, they run Facebook ads, right?
Street Text does run Facebook ads. I partnered with them for the course just because they happen to have the whole thing all ready to go, and all I had to do was plug all my info in there. Plus,
Fine.
I do love Street Text, but I wasn't going to promote them, but you asked me about it, so yeah.
Cool, cool, cool. All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much for coming. Thank you much, Sarah. One more round of applause.
Thank you.